mid-70s, I decided to go out to film school. And when I made that decision, suddenly discovered that apparently I had photography and film in my roots that went back several generations. So that's just kind of a quickie. I worked in Hollywood in California for 25 years, and then my lovely wife and I decided to move back up here a couple of years ago, and finally made the move last year. So here I am. Today I'm going to be talking about being an early adopter and a late bloomer. So why don't we get started here, see if this thing works. Well, kids have always been the fearless ones who more readily adopt new tools. In fact, I'll bet it was a kid who probably started the very first fire. Sounds like the kind of thing a crazy kid would do. So, where did they come from? First of all, I got to get to my notes, and I'll tell you where they come from. Today, I'll look at the world of digital literacy in our kids and how that impacts them. The influence this new world has on their time and the projects they produce, and how we as teachers can be more effective with the digitally literate student. How many people are used to or have experienced the students coming into the classroom and knowing technology almost better than we do? Yeah. You know, that's changed. A few years ago, it was not that way. I gotta find some place to throw all of these pages. Yeah, it's changed, and it's one of the reasons I decided to kind of take this approach today. I'm trying to figure out, as an instructor, how to better interface in a classroom that has that kind of mix. But I'm going to start back with some home movies, since that's kind of what I tend to get as a video instructor. Nearly, it's been almost 100 years ago now, almost, when my grandmother picked up one of the first Brownie cameras. Now, her father, her mother, and her grandfather all became early adopters of the photographic revolution. So, not a lot has changed. We still have technology coming along, and the kids still love it. Right there, that's my grandma. That's my great uncle, and I don't unfortunately know the name of the dog. Hiding in the doorway there, I suspect, is another great-great uncle. And here in a second, you're going to see my great-great-grandmother. There she is. And the guy running the film camera, believe it or not, is my great-great-grandfather. Now, like any good filmmaker, you got a little film left over, don't waste it. If there's a train coming down the tracks, you better burn that roll off. Well, almost 60 years later, another kid made a movie. I won't tell you who that was. I was actually hoping to find a movie that kid made when he was 7 or 8, but the best I could do was a 30-year-old film. But you know, these things kind of, they skipped a generation. My mother didn't do it, but at 7 or 8, I picked up a movie camera, and I fell in love with the technology, just like kids fall in love with technology today. And of course, nobody in my family was surprised by that. But my point here is that our children are still no different than we are. They find these new technologies. They spend huge amounts of time interacting with them. And by the way, huge amounts of money, I think. And I find that amazing. So do you guys swim? Today's kids swim. I mean, it's amazing when I stop to think about the technological environment that they are swimming in. It's mixed up, it's mashed, it's served up to satisfy their seemingly insatiable thirst for the knowledge and immediate. They're immersed in it, often watching videos, animations, and other films hundreds of times before they ever start trying to read and write. And I'm sure many of you can appreciate the please no, not again. the 100th showing, perhaps, of the 101 Dalmatians. How many people have kids here? And how many people have been forced to watch 101 Dalmatians 100 times? Okay, so we at least have a few. I figured that that was a pretty good bet when I plugged that in there. So, when I came across a film by a young kid by the name of Emma, I suppose I shouldn't have been too surprised. Emma's a relative newcomer to the filmmaking business, but she had all the right parts in all the right places. She, of course, had a plot at the beginning, the middle, and an end, and a pretty good conflict. And her story went something like this. Pardon me. A family goes on vacation, sets up camp, goes to bed, wakes up and plays football. And of course gets a flat tire on the way home. Sounds vaguely like some Ice Cube movie I once saw. I think the title might have been Are We There Yet? But if anybody knows another film that applies to this, let me know. But regardless, Emma certainly made this her own movie, and I'd like to show that to you here in a moment. But I think this is what we're looking at. This could be the next big thing. So if anybody's looking to invest, just find some young kids somewhere with some media, access to media. And, oh, here's Emma's movie. There they are, they're back in the car. They get to the campground, they get the tent going. Oh, I'm sorry, they wake up in the morning. It's time to play football. There's the football. A couple of aliens come to help them play football. That's pretty normal. It's time to pack up the car. And when we're packing here, I think still, oh, we got a flat tire. Well, what do you guys think? Pretty good movie. I think I'd pay for worse than those. Emma's 4 years old. I think that just might be out of the top. She's actually one of 53 3- and 4-year-old nursery school children who produced 67 films using tools like iMovie and small pod-like webcams. Now, while Emma is an extreme example of early adoption of media by children, she's by no means unique. So I know this looks a little bit more like a storyboard than maybe a full-fledged movie, but she kept trying. There's take two. What do you guys think? It's going to drive you crazy if I just let that go over and over and over. Not bad. So she's 4 years old. Parents now pack their kids up and send them off to daycare with an array of new media, including computer games and cell phones. Okay, I'm sure everybody is thanking me now for stopping that. But the point is, kids are living in the media. Now, the tools they learn and the experiences they have are generally focused toward gaming or social networking, but the shift to digital literacy as a culturally acquired communication skill is hard to miss. There are definitely days when I feel like I'm a stranger in a strange land, surrounded by a different language and a different culture. I don't know how many of you here can relate to that. You get into a classroom and the kids start saying, do you know this? Do you know that? They start speaking a completely different language. Definitely I'm surrounded by a different culture. No doubt about it, I'm good and solid